This video is sponsored by Nakano Knives. More about them coming up shortly. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Woo Can Cook. My name is Wesley, and this is a show where we are slowly cooking our way through all of the food from my childhood. Today we're diving back into our series dedicated to classic Americanized Chinese cuisine with a look at the sweet and sour chicken from PF Chang's. For those new to the channel, in this series we have been deconstructing classic dishes from Americanized Chinese cuisine, including a long and ever-growing list of dishes from the PF Chang's menu, then seeing what it might look like when reconstructed through the lens of more traditional wok cooking. For those not familiar, the PF Chang's sweet and sour chicken, as expected, sticks pretty closely to how a traditional version of this dish would be assembled, which is to say a battered and fried piece of chicken breast, combined with a medley of stir-fried veggies and coated with a vinegar-forward sweet and savory glaze. The source of our sour element today will of course come from the use of vinegar in our glaze, with our sweeter qualities iconically coming from the use of ketchup and pineapple juice. Perhaps most unusual about the PF Chang's sweet and sour chicken, though, is its light and golden coloring, which stands out because sweet and sour chicken is more typically tinted a deep dark red color due to the high amount of ketchup included in its sauce. So, we'll definitely be taking a look at how we go about incorporating our ketchup today, as well as a closer look into how I might go about supplementing our sweet qualities with a bit of sweet chili sauce and Chinese red vinegar, too. Okay, so let's get into it.
So what's the difference when the world burns down on its own and baby, can I be honest? There's some days that I don't know who I am.
Alright, so diving right in, we're kicking things off here first with some aromatic veggies to go along with our stir fry. This today will be 4 cloves of crushed and minced garlic to start, followed by 1 inch or about 1 tablespoon of fine minced ginger. Next up, moving on to our veggies, sweet and sour chicken is iconically made using onion, pineapple, and both red and green bell pepper. For those keeping track, that's 4 vegetables in a single stir fry, which is going to be quite a lot, so we're also being very careful with how much of each vegetable we use here. So up first here is half of a fairly small white onion that I'm peeling, then large dicing, with the root end still attached to aid us in getting a nice even dice. Then next is our bell peppers. As with the onion, we are again only using half of each bell pepper, otherwise we'd end up with more bell pepper than chicken today. To do this, I'm starting by flipping the bell pepper on its head, then slicing it in half and removing this white membrane. This stuff is going to cause bitterness in the stir fry, which we don't want, sort of like the pith of an orange. Then next, I'm removing both the top and bottom ends of my bell pepper here. In a restaurant, you might more typically see these trimming bits thrown out in order to achieve a more even sizing to your dice. Personally though, I prefer to just slice them up as closely to a large dice as possible because, food waste. In any case, once our tip and tail ends are removed, we'll be able to flatten out our bell pepper, then slice into planks so that we may achieve a nice even large dice. Finally, of course, we're doing this all again with our green bell pepper as well, then setting aside for a moment while we dive into our chicken breast next. Moving on to our chicken next, I've got 2 medium chicken breasts here that we're also slicing into strips before similarly large dicing. For accuracy, pretty much all PF Chang's fried chicken dishes favor chicken breast over chicken thigh. Personally, I find that either breast or thigh will work just fine, though the addition of fat from the chicken thigh may yield a little bit more moisture in the deep fry, meaning that you'll need to keep the chicken in the fryer for a little bit longer. We're using a little bit of camera magic to clean up our cutting board so that we may combine our chicken with a quick marinade here next. This is 4 tablespoons of soy sauce to start, followed by a single tablespoon of Shaoxing wine to help tenderize our chicken, and a half teaspoon of white pepper to round this all out. I'm tossing this to combine, then setting aside for 20 minutes to marinate. 20 minutes later, I've got my largest mixing bowl out. Then we're adding about a half cup of potato starch so that we may coat our chicken with my favorite chicken karaage dry batter for pretty much any fried chicken stir fry like this one. Now, quick digression, full disclosure, based on the ingredients list of the PF Chang's frozen aisle sweet and sour chicken, I'm pretty sure that their chicken is made using a cornstarch and flour based tempura batter made using egg whites. Again, if I had to guess, I imagine this is because tempura batters work really well with par frying, or in other words, so that they can half fry the chicken, then do a quick second fry at point of order to speed up the cook time on the line. For our at-home attempts though, I personally find that this karaage batter works really well with stir-fried chicken like this dish because of its low moisture content, allowing it to pair with glazes and sauces really well. Next up, moving on to our sauce element here. As I mentioned earlier, a traditional sweet and sour chicken derives its sour qualities from vinegars and its sweet qualities from ketchup and pineapple juice. For our version today, we're going to try and tone down the Americanization of this dish just a little bit by dialing back the ketchup and substituting it with a few of my favorite pantry staples. So up first here, this is 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup of soy sauce to start, followed next by my vinegars. This is going to be 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar and 2 tablespoons of Chinese red vinegar. Red vinegar, not to be mistaken for red wine vinegar, is made from red yeast rice and has a sweeter and less acidic quality to it. You'll more commonly come across this stuff on the table with dipping sauces due to its low acid content. This means that it's gonna work great in adding some nice complex sweetness to our glaze, as well as a nice red tint too, though we'll also want to supplement it with a brighter rice vinegar as well though, due to its low acid content. Next up, rounding this all out, is our sweet elements. This is going to be 2 tablespoons of sweet chili sauce to start, followed as promised by the main event. This is 2 tablespoons of ketchup and of course 4 tablespoons or a quarter cup of pineapple juice. For stir fries like this, I like to use canned pineapple that's stored in pineapple juice, since we're going to need the pineapple for the stir fry later on anyway. Finally, I'm rounding everything out here with 2 tablespoons of chili crisp oil for some heat, then mixing our glaze to combine and heading over to the stove. Before we do that though, I want to take a quick break and show you all this beautiful santoku knife that I've been using all day here, made by Nakano Knives. As many of you know, the knife that I've been using in basically every single video that we've done on this channel is a 150-year-old French carbon steel chef's knife. It's made by an extinct manufacturer though, so for years now I've come up short on answers when folks ask, what kind of knife should I buy for myself? Nakano's Santoku knife is made with high-quality carbon stainless steel, meaning that it will stay sharp over a long period of time. Now, this is a knife demonstration, so of course we're going to shred some paper and prove how absurdly sharp this knife is out of the box, but if I'm being totally honest, pretty much any knife is capable of doing this, provided that it's been properly sharpened. What I personally look more for in a nice knife is the way that it feels in my hand, how it's balanced, the ergonomics of the handle and tang, and so on. Probably the biggest point of contention for me in this department is the spine of the knife, which rubs against the palm of your hand as you chop. A well-crafted knife like this one will have taken the time to round out and shape the spine of the knife for comfort, whereas the cheaper knives that I've used will often have a razor-sharp spine that digs into the palm of your hand and causes blisters over time. So, I put this all to the test when Nakano sent this knife over, and I took this Santoku to a Woo Can Cook prep day, where I essentially spent 6 straight hours chopping green onions and lapchang, and it passed all of my tests. It's comfortable, well-balanced, and it doesn't wear against my hand too much. For folks who are interested, read more about Nakano in the description of this video or visit nakano-knives.com/woocancook and use the discount code WooCanCook to save 10% off of your total purchase. Okay, so over on the stove, I have my fryer heating up at 350 degrees F. Then we're adding our chicken to the wok about 20 to 25 pieces at a time and frying for about 3 to 5 minutes until golden brown. As always, double frying is never not a good idea for a crispier piece of chicken, though I think you'll find with lower moisture batters like our potato starch here, it's not really super necessary and it'll save you about 20 minutes of cook time too, which is nice. Next up, I've removed my fryer oil, then reheated my wok as hot as possible, added 4 tablespoons of peanut oil, and as always, long yao for that nice non-stick surface. Then going in here first are my aromatic veggies. Here's my garlic and ginger going in for about 15 seconds until nice and fragrant, followed next by my bell pepper. I'm giving these a 1 to 2 minute head start in the fry since they're a little bit more dense than our other veggies, then following up with our onions and pineapple next. We're giving this all a quick toss for about 2 to 3 minutes until the sugars in that pineapple start to caramelize a little bit, then removing and setting this all aside while we dive into our glaze next. I've reduced the heat to a medium-low now, then we're adding our glaze mixture and reducing with constant agitation for about 5 minutes until our spatula runs smoothly through it, like so. Then finally, we're killing the heat entirely, adding our chicken and veggies back to the wok and tossing everything to coat. We're serving this all up over rice and we're ready to eat. Okay, so first off, right off the bat, our final dish here is a noticeable shade darker and redder than our PF Chang's reference version, which I'm pretty okay with because it's honestly pretty weird how light and golden their sweet and sour chicken is, and I have a feeling a lot of it comes from Photoshop, I don't know. In any case, our version today is bright and savory thanks to our vinegars, which pairs really nicely with the sugars that come from our ketchup, pineapple juice, and sweet chili sauce. This, combined with the inclusion of our chili crisp oil, results in a reasonably traditional sweet and sour chicken with some interesting, more traditional wok cooking qualities that come from our red vinegar, sweet chili sauce, and of course, chili crisp oil. Finally, those following along with this series may have noticed that this is maybe the third or fourth dish that we've made using ketchup in the last few months, which is not unintentional. I personally find the appearance of ketchup in Americanized Chinese food to be incredibly interesting because ketchup is just about the most American thing that you can put into a dish, really. As with many of our previous recipes though, the ketchup cooks into the background of our glaze really nicely and gives a nice complement to our sweet and savory qualities without becoming overwhelmingly 4th grade cafeteria lunch-esque, which I imagine is always a concern with ketchup, really. Okay, so that's it everyone. I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you give this one a shot. For those who are new to the channel, this one is part of a larger series that we've been doing that's dedicated to reproducing classic Chinese American dishes, including a whole bunch of other stuff from the PF Chang's menu, so definitely check out that series next if you haven't yet because there's a lot of these. For the Bay Area locals, the Wu Can Cook Fried Rice pop-up is at the West Oakland Farmers Market in Oakland every Sunday morning, so come by and say hi if you can. More about that at wucancook.com/eats. Finally, a special thanks to Nakano Knives for sponsoring this video. If you haven't yet, head over to nakano-knives.com/wucancook and check out their Mito series for some solid, affordable chef knives. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, be nice YouTubers, and I'll see you soon. Bye.
There's some days that I don't know who I am. I've got the time to think about who I want to be.